Hey Deckers, I was pretty much ready to give up on this one and call it a day and say don't bother buying it. But after fiddling around for quite some time, I've actually found some settings that make this actually bearably playable. But look at the power wattage, we are up in the 28s again, so you're not going to get a huge amount of battery time on this one. So this doesn't tell you ahead of time, but heed the warning, don't bother installing this on your SD card. It does give you a warning when you start up the game, which does also take forever. If you're loading this for the first time, set a good 5 to 10 minutes aside because it takes quite a while. Now, after it's done the building shader section, which takes 3 to 4 minutes, it then goes through the warning dialogues, and it truly is developed for SSD because it streams a lot of content from the hard drive. If you do it from your SD card, you're going to be spending a lot of your time looking at a slideshow like you see here, like I was originally. I thought it couldn't be too bad off of the SD card, but those loading sections were just absolutely terrible. Now, it doesn't get a whole amount better on the SSD unless you change down the graphics to low and the FSR2 mode either to performance or ultra performance. Now, I'm going to show you the settings on both of these so you can make a good judgment call, but without it, the loading spikes are just absolutely unbearable, although the graphics do look incredibly good. So starting with low on the FSR2 Ultra Performance, if you are going to use this one, I would also say to turn off the film grain because it just makes it look too grainy. For the most part, this does look okay and plays really well. The loading spikes on Ultra Performance are absolutely minimal. However, when you get to some of the terminals, the text and on the doors is barely readable and it really ruins the effect. Now, it's a little bit better with the film grain off, but it does ruin some of the immersiveness. So if you want that minimal lag, then Ultra Performance is definitely the way to go, and it does still look okay. It's not absolutely terrible, which we've seen in some of the FSR2 implementations in other games. As you can see there, it does look incredibly good, even with the monsters in stasis being shot at, but that graininess does really become apparent. So if we switch over to the low settings with just Performance FSR, things clear up quite a lot. Now, you do start noticing those load spikes a little bit more, but they aren't as bad as any of the other settings, but the clarity on this is just so much better. So I'm actually going to say that my recommended settings for this going forwards is to run this on low overall settings with the FSR2 in performance mode. You'll see in the FPS it does bounce around all over the place between 40 and 60, but the power wattage does stick up there around the 28-29 mark. And there you go, you see that load spike there on the performance mode. You get those a little bit more often than you do on the ultra performance, but anything above performance on the FSR2 front, the loading and lag spikes are just absolutely awful. Overall though, I think I'm actually going to be able to enjoy this one on Steam Deck with these settings, and hopefully you guys will be able to as well. Let us know in the comments below if you're going to be diving into this one and what your experience has been so far. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.